What would you do if a 70-ton humpback mother surfaced beside your boat, pleading for help? In 2024, 150 whales were entangled off Australia's coast, a 27% rise. With fewer than 100 trained rescuers nationwide and only 45 minutes to save a trapped calf, every second mattered. What followed wasn't just a rescue, it was a delicate, high-stakes mission between one of the ocean's mightiest creatures and a team racing against time. Want to know how it ended? Let's dive in! Each year, more than 40,000 humpback whales travel along Australia's eastern coastline. Their journey stretches from the freezing waters of Antarctica to the warmer breeding grounds of Queensland's Coral Sea, a breathtaking migration covering over 10,000 kilometers. These aren't solitary journeys, they're family odysseys. Mothers lead their calves through vast, deep waters, teaching them how to surface, breathe, and most importantly, survive. But increasingly, that rhythm is being shattered, and the threat? It isn't a natural predator. It's us. We saw her breaching again and again. At first we thought she was just playing, but then we realized something was wrong. That's how Ben H., a volunteer marine rescuer on the Gold Coast, described the moment that changed everything. In the year 2024 alone, more than 150 whales were reported entangled off Australia's shores. That marks a rise of 27% compared to just 5 years ago, based on figures from the Australian Marine Conservation Society. And what's behind this alarming trend? It's ghost gear, abandoned fishing equipment, shark nets, long fishing lines, leftovers drifting through waters that once offered sanctuary. These aren't just statistics. Each entanglement is a life in peril, a mother, a fry, Have you ever witnessed a whale in the wild, or watched a rescue unfold with your own eyes? Share your experience in the comments below. The mother's powerful breaches weren't random. They were deliberate, urgent, a plea for help one only a few humans could recognize before it was too late. What rescuers discovered beneath the surface is something they will carry with them for the rest of their lives. Below the waves, a young humpback, barely a year old, was trapped. Heavy industrial rope coiled around its tail and torso like chains. Its body twisted, its movement restricted, and its breath shallow and growing weaker. One diver later described the scene as, quote, bound like iron shackles. The calf had become ensnared in an anti-shark net, a barrier meant to protect swimmers, but which, in this case, had become a silent executioner. And above it all was its mother. She never left, not for a moment. Every time her calf stayed under too long, she gently nudged it upward, helping it breathe, even as she neared exhaustion. She hovered, protectively, a sentinel in distress, refusing to abandon her child. According to Queensland's Department of Agriculture and Fisheries, as of the year 2025, more than 85 whales have become entangled in these shark nets since 2019. Despite the introduction of so-called whale pingers and design tweaks, the danger hasn't gone away. In fact, younger whales, those unfamiliar with human barriers, remain the most vulnerable. These nets are meant to deter sharks, but they do not discriminate. Turtles, dolphins, stingrays, and yes, calves like this one, all get caught. I remember watching the mother push her calf to the surface again and again, recalls Talia Brooks, a volunteer diver with SeaWorld's Marine Rescue Team. She wasn't panicking, she was focused. She was working with us, as if she knew we were her last hope. This was no ordinary rescue. It was a race against time, a battle against fear, and an attempt to prevent a mother from losing everything. As the calf struggled below the waves and its mother stood guard above, help was finally racing in. A specialized rescue vessel from SeaWorld's Marine Rescue Team, backed by Queensland Fisheries, surged toward the scene. These weren't hobbyists with good intentions. They were a precision-trained unit, ready for the unthinkable. They came not with fear, but with experience, urgency, and a deep respect for the life they were about to save. This wasn't a typical call-out, one team member later shared. We weren't just fighting time, we were facing one of the ocean's strongest animals under extreme distress. Above the surface, the sea looked deceptively calm, but just beneath, danger pulsed with every current. A stressed mother whale, even one injured and fatigued, could kill with a single panic swing of her tail. Humpbacks don't lose their power when they're in pain. They carry it in, every muscle, every movement. According to the latest report from Australia's Department of Climate Change, Energy, the Environment and Water, whale rescue missions along the eastern coastline have surged by nearly 40% since the year 2020. In response, national authorities have tightened training protocols and increased funding for marine response efforts. Yet despite the growing need, the SeaWorld Foundation confirms that fewer than 100 individuals across the country are certified to physically disentangle whales. The reason? The risks, both mental and physical, are immense. You don't get a second chance out there, says rescue diver Luke Tan, a veteran with 12 missions under his belt. The whale doesn't know we're trying to help. It only knows it's trapped. We have to act quickly but never make it feel threatened. And that's the delicate balance. One wrong move could lead to disaster. But even so, these teams move forward, not with force but with trust, timing, and a clear understanding of what's truly at stake. Because saving one calf doesn't just mean saving a life. It means preserving the bond between mother and child, protecting the integrity of the pod, and ultimately, safeguarding the ocean's future. With the rescue team locked in position, the ocean transformed into a scene of silent urgency. Beneath the surface, the calf was fading, every breath slower than the last. Just above, a line of trained professionals balanced inches from danger. They were steady, focused, and fully aware that one wrong decision could end it all. The team's first task was clear: identify where the net held tightest. It had wrapped around the calf's tail, one pectoral fin, and deep into the body, like a tightening noose with every twitch. Time was slipping away, but precision mattered more than speed. One crew member leaned in, carefully reached down and made the first cut. The calf reacted instantly. It jolted with violent force, thrashing against the line. The boat rocked hard. Voices rose in urgency. The team pulled back, regrouped, and waited for the right moment to try again. Then came a second attempt, this time from a new angle, slower, calmer. Every movement was deliberate. Every breath counted. Throughout it all, the mother remained close. She hovered just a few meters away, not aggressive, not fearful. She didn't interfere, nor did she leave. She watched. She waited. She trusted. Minutes turned heavy, 30 of them. 30 minutes of cutting, 30 minutes of resisting panic. We were one mistake away from losing her, said Elisa Eng, the team's lead rescuer. Even now her voice shakes when she talks about that day. She wasn't just trapped, she was exhausted. If we moved too fast, she'd panic. If we moved too slow, she'd sink, and we wouldn't get her back. According to the Australian Whale Disentanglement Network, rescue teams typically have a window of about 45 minutes once a calf's oxygen levels start to drop. In colder water, or if the calf's mobility is restricted, that window shrinks rapidly. Stress can cause shallow breathing, organ failure, and if the mother and calf are separated, survival becomes unlikely. But on this day, no one panicked. The team didn't shout. They moved with quiet coordination, listening to the water, to each other, and maybe, in some deeper way, to the whales themselves. When the final rope came free, the response was immediate. The calf surged forward, no longer restrained, free, breathing strongly, and in that single silent moment, it felt as if the entire ocean let out a breath it had been holding. Before we continue, I have a special 10-second request for all of you listening. If you can help me in any way, just press the notification bell and hit that subscribe button. It means the world. It really supports this channel. And if you do that for me, I promise my team and I will do everything we can to make this show even better for you. One final cut. One last breath held in tense silence. The rope slipped away, falling like a weight lifted from the entire ocean. The young whale twisted free at last. For a few seconds, it didn't move. It simply floated there, still, suspended, as if uncertain the danger had truly passed. The ocean around it was quiet, charged with something deeper than relief. Then a shape began to rise from the deep. A shadow, massive and steady, emerged just beneath the calf. It was the mother. She moved upward with calm strength, reaching her calf's side and pressing her nose gently against its body. With one nudge, one breath, she stirred the calf back to life. Together they turned, slipping into motion side by side, heading toward the open sea. That moment held everything, the tension, the relief, and the bond that no net could sever. "We didn't cheer, we didn't speak," said crew member Sarah Ibarra, her voice tight with emotion. "We just watched. You could feel it, this quiet understanding, like she knew we gave her baby a second chance." According to Australia's Department of Climate Change, Energy, the Environment and Water, up to 50% of humpback whale calves don't survive their first year. Entanglement, exhaustion, and separation during long migrations are among the leading causes. That's why rescues like this matter. They don't just save a life, they protect the future of a species still healing from generations of exploitation and loss. And while the sea closed gently behind them, something remained open in everyone who witnessed it, a sense of hope, of connection, and a renewed reason to protect the wild. You'd hope a rescue like that would be the end of the story, a peaceful close to an intense chapter, a return to calm seas. But just days later, another call came in. Another breach. Another silent cry for help from below the surface. This time, it wasn't a calf in trouble, it was a fully grown humpback whale, stretching over 40 feet in length. Dragging behind it was a massive fishing net, wrapped tightly around its body like a second skin. The net was cinched across its tail and torso, digging deeper with every movement. Its skin was torn. Gashes ran along its flanks, raw and open. The animal had been struggling for days, slowly wearing itself down while bound by human debris. According to the Ocean Impact Review from the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organization, over 60% of large whale entanglements in Australian waters are caused by commercial fishing gear, gill nets, crab traps, and long lines. And that's just the reported cases. Many go unnoticed, especially during long offshore migrations. When the rescue team arrived, they approached slowly. On the first attempt, the whale panicked. It thrashed hard and dove deep, disappearing from view. For a while, the ocean fell still. The crew waited, silently watching the horizon. An hour passed. Then, just as the team prepared to turn back, the whale resurfaced. It moved slower now, weaker, as if it had made a choice, trust them or die trying to escape. That shift was all the team needed. They moved in again, more carefully this time. The net was heavy and tangled, coated in debris and tension. Lead diver Alex Ramirez later recalled the moment they hauled it out of the water. The entire mass weighed nearly 1 metric ton. 2 rescues. 2 whales were given another chance. But behind those victories lies something harder to face. These animals weren't caught by bad luck. They were caught by design, trapped by systems we created and haven't yet fixed. Nets that don't discriminate. Tools that protect profits but put wildlife at constant risk. If you had the power to change just one thing, The gear, the policies, or the public awareness? Where would you begin? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because conversation leads to awareness, and awareness leads to action. Aftermath. As the final rope slipped into the sea and the water calmed, something shifted, not in the ocean but in the people on the boat. There were no cheers, no applause, just stillness. A quiet sense of awe, and one silent, shared question that hung in the air. Did she know we were trying to help? "You never forget the look in her eye," said marine biologist Emma Clark, who has spent more than 10 years working in field rescues. It wasn't fear. It wasn't panic. It was something else, like she was studying us, the same way we were watching her. That observation now has growing scientific support. According to recent findings published in the Marine Mammal Cognition Review, humpback whales may demonstrate behaviors linked to recognition and memory when interacting with humans. Behavioral scientist Dr. Leila D'Souza notes that some whales, after being disentangled, have been seen circling rescue boats. Others linger longer than expected during migration or perform slow, deliberate tail or fin movements. Researchers believe these may be forms of social signaling. Although scientists stop short of calling it gratitude, many agree these patterns suggest a form of awareness, perhaps even choice, in how whales respond after being freed. So maybe it wasn't a thank you in the way we understand it. Maybe it didn't have to be. The rescue was over, the whales were free, but the danger, it's still out there, silent, unseen, and just as deadly. Every year, thousands of marine animals fall victim to the same silent trap. Not just whales, but dolphins, sea turtles, manta rays, and sharks, all caught in the legacy of one ongoing threat: us. Lost or abandoned fishing gear that continues to trap, injure, and kill long after it's left human hands. Some drift aimlessly on ocean currents. Others snag on coral reefs or settle onto the sea floor, waiting. You won't see them until it's too late. According to the most recent estimate from the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organization, more than 640,000 metric tons of ghost gear are floating in the world's oceans. That's every year. In Australian waters specifically, the Australian Marine Mammal Centre's 2025 Entanglement Summary confirms that entanglement remains the leading cause of injury among migrating humpback whales. The evidence is everywhere. A diver surfaces with a thick, twisted clump of netting, half buried in sand, knotted beyond recognition. Nearby, the skeletal remains of a whale lie exposed, rope still fused into bone. The ocean isn't just a body of water, says marine ecologist Dr. Naomi Keller. It's an entire universe, one filled with danger, resilience, and consequences. Volunteer diver and rescuer Ryan Chow adds, "The worst part? These nets don't break down. They can stay in the ocean for decades. One net could kill dozens of animals over time, and most people will never even know it happened. The ocean provides, but it also remembers. Every rope we lose, every net we abandon, it stays, not because it wants to, but because we haven't chosen better." Ghost nets aren't the only danger hidden below. Sometimes what we can't see, or even hear, is just as urgent and just as vital to understand. Many people don't realize this, but whales communicate in complex ways that science is only beginning to decode. Humpback whales are famous for their long, melodic songs that echo across vast distances. But during moments of distress, their calls shift into something far more urgent: sharp, rapid-fire clicks. These clicks can travel for miles. In rescue circles, they're often described as acoustic distress signals, sometimes called calls for help. According to a recent study by the Australian Institute of Marine Bioacoustics, these click patterns increase significantly during entanglement events. The response is especially strong among juveniles who have been caught in fishing gear or other marine debris. Even during migration, mother whales become more cautious. Researchers have recorded them singing in softer, shorter tones when calves are nearby, a behavior now referred to as whale whispers. It's believed this helps reduce the risk of attracting predators. We often think of whales as loud singers, explains marine acoustics specialist Dr. Miles Tanaka. But in their most vulnerable moments, they go nearly silent. It's an act of instinct, a mother protecting her young in a sea full of danger and noise. And while we may feel the urge to help, not everyone is allowed to intervene. In Australia, whale rescues are strictly regulated. Only certified marine response teams are legally permitted to carry out disentanglements. That restriction exists for good reason. Even with the best intentions, an untrained person can make things worse. A panicked whale can thrash violently, ropes can recoil, in some cases boats can capsize. The Australian Department of Environment and Water reports that in the past 2 years alone, at least 12 untrained civilians have been injured during unauthorized rescue attempts. 3 whales have also suffered additional harm in the process. That's why marine rescue certification in Australia includes months of rigorous training with detailed scenario simulations, safety drills, and team coordination exercises. The goal isn't just to save whales, it's to make sure no lives, human or animal, are lost in the attempt. Sometimes, a moment becomes more than just a memory. It becomes momentum. This rescue didn't just save a whale, it sparked something far greater, a ripple that caught the world's attention and turned into a wave of action. Within just 48 hours, the footage had spread across major digital platforms. From global news networks to small conservation pages, the story traveled fast. It reached homes in Australia, New Zealand, and across Europe, prompting millions of people to stop, watch, and ask a powerful question: how can I help? According to the Australian Department of Environment and Communications, the rescue video was viewed more than 6,200,000 times across YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram in its first week alone. That exposure led to action. The platform Change.org reported over 140,000 signatures on a petition to phase out fixed anti-shark nets along Queensland's coast, all within 2 weeks of the rescue going public. And the impact didn't stop online. I showed the video to my class, said Olivia Owen, a primary school teacher in Cairns. That weekend, we launched a local beach cleanup. The kids made signs, they collected 37 kilograms of plastic and netting. One of them said, "If the whales can't speak, we will." What started as a crisis became a call to action, not just for scientists or rescuers, but for everyday people. People who saw a life saved and decided to do something more. Because sometimes, the strongest waves of change start with a single breath and a moment of compassion that refuses to fade. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to us. Click on the video that appears on your screen right now. I hope you'll love this content. Comment below about the next topic you'd like to see featured on our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for being with us. Leave a comment, like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button for more exciting videos. See you next time.